I am here today to talk about the return of Super Agent Jack Bauer and the return of 24. Hello there and welcome once again to Real Screen Reviews. I am movie critic Nick Iacobucci and my next review is for the TV show 24. It has recently been announced by Fox that they're bringing back CTU and Federal Agent Jack Bauer for a summer show in 2014 entitled 24 Live Another Day, and I couldn't be happier because 24 is my all-time favorite TV show ever. The character of Jack Bauer is brought to life most vividly by Kiefer Sutherland, and after 8 thrilling days with this guy, we will be reunited once again for him to save the world. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with the series of 24, it is specifically called that because each season contains 24 episodes. For example, if a particular season that you are watching begins at noon, then episode number 1 is noon until 1 p.m. The second episode would be 1 p.m. until 2 p.m., and the next one after that would be 2 p.m. until 3 p.m., and so on. Now, obviously, at the end of the season, one entire day has elapsed, and here's where it gets even more interesting. Each show accommodates for commercials, but each show is unraveled in real time. If someone says during the episode, "I'll be there in 20 minutes," then by your watch, 20 minutes later, that person comes walking through the door. Stuff like that becomes key plot points in these episodes in the dramatic series of 24. You also have to film 10 to 11 episodes at night to accommodate evening and nighttime reality, and just about every week it leaves you with a cliffhanger. In my opinion, this TV show was a landmark in television presentation. Well, people, I'm going to start with the guts of the show, or maybe that's because he's spilling them all the time, and that would be star Kiefer Sutherland as Federal Agent Jack Bauer. This man brings with him every moment of every episode, week after week, an intensity so ferocious that sometimes I simply deemed him a mad dog. His signature role of Jack bears the weight of the entire world on his shoulders almost every second, literally, and without question, he is the driving force of this show. He's the television equivalent of James Bond or Jason Bourne, and how coincidental that Jack Bauer also shares the same initials as the other mentioned super agents. Now, what I believe separates Jack from most heroes is his willingness to seriously do whatever it takes to achieve his goal. He resorts to out-and-out revenge and pure wrath more than a few times, and he reacts to his own passions and emotions just as frequently. Jack doesn't do what is morally right, and he doesn't do what is legally right. He simply does what is right. Finally, he himself is not without loss or sacrifice. He has volunteered to die for his country, has given up being a regular person, and in the process lost both his wife, Terry, and Renee Walker. Now, with a great hero and central character come outstanding villains and exceptional supporting players. Over 8 seasons, 24 has seen antagonists in the form of Arnold Vosloo, Peter Weller, Gregory Itzin, Dennis Hopper, John Voight, and Will Patton. That's a very impressive list, if I do say so myself. These terrific performers create terrifying villains because these characters are so fanatical and stringent in their beliefs, and these anti-heroes will go to any length to create terror in these episodes. You also have great characters supporting Jack like Chloe O'Brien, President Palmer, Tony Almeida, and Michelle Dessler. Now, some reasons why I believe it to be one of television's best dramatic series of all time. First and foremost, and especially for a TV project, the show 24 just has big balls. It debuted a mere 8 weeks after the towers were hit and dealt head-on with those topics exactly. One of 24's key elements is betrayal. People that you like become traitors. People that you trust stab you in the back at the most precise and inopportune times. Also, this dramatic tale was never afraid to kill off popular and main characters over the years. President Palmer, Michelle Dessler, Edgar, and Bill Buchanan all bit the dust, I believe, and it wasn't always easy to stomach. Then sometimes characters live to make damaging mistakes that cannot be undone. Finally, the running clock adds a dimension to 24 that's rarely seen by other shows, and that dimension is the element of time itself. Just as in real life, there is only so much of it, and sometimes it runs out. Okay, people, it is my all-time favorite show, but I do have a few nitpicking issues to cover. Just like any good stock car race, it all comes down to the last 50 laps, and the show of 24 kind of follows that same pattern. Now, I'm not saying that the first 8 episodes of the season are worthless or anything, because they're not, but it all comes down to the last 6 to 8 episodes of pure adrenaline. As a big fan, I could easily tell that they also struggled to get to 24 hours of information, and with plot points like amnesia, the bear trap, and just how many times Kim got kidnapped, this definitely holds true. Finally, I'll concede that sometimes Jack had 9 or 10 lives per season, and he never eats, sleeps, showers, or goes to the bathroom, and I would say that's a true super agent, if not a smelly one. You also have to watch 24 with a genuine desire to be entertained, and you can't sit there wanting to pick it apart. It does ask you to suspend your disbelief, but in turn it does, however, deliver up some of television's best dramatic work. 24 Live Another Day is set to debut in May of 2014, and the summer format sees 24 brought in actually at only 12 episodes. For any die-hard or core fan, this is an easily acceptable thing to stomach, because I will gladly take 12 hours of Jack Bauer over no hours of Jack Bauer. This upcoming season will skip over hours throughout the day, and one episode might be 3 p.m. until 4 p.m., and the very next episode might be 6 p.m. until 7 p.m. This concept actually works in the show's favor because, like I said, they were always struggling to get to 24 hours anyway, and put simply, this should make the story a whole lot tighter. The writers and creators also have a year to give us something really special, and Kiefer Sutherland's goal, he said publicly, is to blow the doors off of the audience. They wanted for years to make a feature film of 24, and I must agree that it just wouldn't work as a feature film. However, this is a perfect addition to the world of 24, and I can't tell you how very thankful I am that we will get at least one more day with Federal Agent Jack Bauer. Well, I'm afraid that's all the time that I have today, and thank you so much for stopping by. If you have enjoyed this review, please click like below and give me a thumbs up, or subscribe to Real Screen Reviews if you haven't yet already. I'm sure that I'll be returning soon enough with more movie and trailer reviews, and until next time, remember people, this is Iacobucci saying, I'm not always right, but only when it comes to the movies, and thank you for your attention.